and it would just drain me and they would drive me batty. And they would be in our school for 2 to 3 years. And so you just, you would ride it out. But I built some really strong relationships with a couple of the boys that were sort of the ringleaders, that everybody else would follow. And I remember I would pick one of them up for school every day because he would stop showing up for school, and I would pick him up and I would feed him.
All right, Jenny, this is going to be so fun because I'm literally interviewing a friend and I love that. So, we're going to have great vibes on this podcast. So, for people listening in who have no idea who you are, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Candace, I'm so excited to be here and have a conversation about all the things and you know, being an entrepreneur and a mom and all of that. So,
Mhm, mhm,
um, my name's Jenny Zook. My background is in education. I was a middle school teacher for most of my career, and I loved that part of my life. But after having kids, and I have twin boys who are turning 11 in a couple weeks here, um, I discovered, as we do as moms, when our lives change in these significant ways after having kids and having a family, careers don't always mesh super well
mhm,
with family life. And that kind of happened for me. And actually, before I had kids, I had a little business that I did on the side because I always was the friend that people came to and wanted to shop with and wanted help cleaning out their closets. And so I started a business before I had kids. It was called Denver Shop Girl. I still love that name so much, where I would go shop for people and get into their closets because I had time and flexibility. And
mhm,
after having kids, a couple of things happened. One, my body was significantly different, as they are. And I had two babies in me at one time. And
mhm,
I remember these moments of just like looking in the mirror and feeling like, who is that person? I don't
mhm,
recognize you physically, mentally, all of the things. And I knew that I had the skills to be able to sort of rebuild my wardrobe postpartum. Um, and I wanted to sort of bring that aspect of my life back, um, into my current situation because I missed it. It was such a creative outlet for me. It brought me so much joy. But figuring out how to do that in in a family situation while I was still working was really tricky. So I sort of brought all of those skill sets together and just brought me to the business that I have today. Um,
yeah.
and style school and all of those fun things that bring me all the joy and that outlet again, just in a very different way.
Oh, I love that. And we're going to dig deeper into that for sure. But for right now, let's go back in time to young you.
Hmm.
What were some of the first jobs that you ever had? You know, as a kid, you said that you were the friend that people would go shopping for, but I'm sure that didn't pay the bills or give you any money. So yeah, what were some of those first jobs that you did?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, back in those days, so I used to shop all the time with my mom, and my mom was a teacher too. So we were like sale shoppers, and I got really good at that. And I remember always thinking like, how cool would it be if I could like get a job where somebody would pay me to go shopping? And I knew, like, I thought about that as a young person. No idea, like back in those times, because that was a long time ago. Um, the influencer, the social media, like all of that stuff, none of it existed. So I still, I think, was drawn to style and fashion. And actually, my first job was in a salon. Our neighbors who lived down the street from us owned a salon, and they used to cut my hair in their garage. We were really good friends, and I ended up working in their salon for a long time. When I first started driving, it was how I could pay for gas and insurance and all of that. But I was sort of in this environment where, women were coming in and wanting to feel beautiful and taking care of themselves. And I loved that. So that was my first job. And I did that through high school and a little bit into college. And then I also was a waitress. Um,
Mhm.
and I loved that job too. And so those were like, and I waitressed all through college, and I worked at a breakfast restaurant. So I was not in a sorority or anything like that. But this breakfast restaurant that I worked at, that we had to be there at 5:45 in the morning. Um, in college, I mean, I'm like, who says yes to that? And there was just this really great group of girls, and it was all girl servers, and we had these hilarious uniforms. But we sort of built this almost sorority like setting. And I remain friends with many of those girls to this day. And I just loved it. I think, I don't know, I've never even looked at it through this lens before, but I worked in these environments that were all women,
Mhm.
mostly, and
Mhm.
being around other women and building community and, talking about all the things. I think that that piece of those jobs have certainly carried over into
Mhm.
the community that I have created myself today.
Wow, that's great. I love that you actually had some friends at work. Like when you said breakfast, that was one of my first jobs. I worked
Mm.
as a waitress in a
Huh.
five-star restaurant, but I got
Oh,
like
wow.
demoted to the breakfast shift because I was so bad at the work, and it was like 5 stars, so like you couldn't mess up people's dinner,
Right.
but and breakfast was very low key,
Okay.
like serve the coffee. I couldn't even get that right. But yeah, I also had to get there so early and set up
Yeah,
everything. So yeah, that is just crazy early.
I
But I
know. I
think
know.
probably the people around you made it just totally fine.
Totally.
Yeah.
It was I loved it. And that restaurant, I don't know, they're just like it was a hub. It was like a hub
Mm.
of friends and family and so many good memories there. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Okay, so then you did college. What happened after college?
After college, so this is kind of a funny story. So, a lot of teachers in my family. My mom's a teacher, my grandparents are teachers, my stepmom was a teacher, and I was always surrounded by teachers. And so I did not want to be a teacher.
Mhm.
I was like, no, I'm going to be a big deal. I'm going to be something professional and fancy. And while I was in school, I thought I'll go into marketing and be around fancy people, right? And be serious and get to wear fun clothes. Honestly, I was like, I want a cool wardrobe. I want to have a cool wardrobe. That was always part of what I was drawn to. And I went and got my degree. I did an internship in marketing, and I hated it. I did not like a single person I interacted with. I felt like it was super gross. And it just kind of gave me the ick. And then I went back to school and got my degree in teaching. And I started teaching elementary school. Quickly realized that that was not for me. Those little people were too much. And I also was like, if I teach these little people who don't stop touching me and needing me for every little thing, I'll never want to have my own kids. So I went
Mhm.
back to school again for my master's in secondary education. My mom was a high school teacher, and
Mhm.
I thought I'm going to go into high school. And also, I was working during that. I was teaching during that time and going to school at night. And in order to get another degree in education, you have to do student teaching in another grade level. Well, that means you have to work and not get paid, which was
Mhm.
very impossible, right?
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
impossible. I was in my early 20s, and I thought, I can't student teach again and not get paid. So, my certificate at the time brought me to up to eighth grade. So I was allowed to teach up to eighth grade. And eighth grade was considered secondary. And
Mhm.
they allowed me to teach in eighth grade and count that as my student teaching while I was getting paid. Um,
Mhm.
and then I fell in love with those little monsters in middle school. And I never left. And I got my master's degree, and then I was in middle school for almost 20 years. Um,
Wow.
and I loved it. And so that really that's it. And during that time, all of these other sort of kind of side hustles and dipping my toe back into this idea of having style and clothes be a part of my life at the same time as my teaching. Um, that yeah, that was that like I'm like then my job became what it is today.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Feels like not that you fell into it because it feels like it was just written in the stars for you, but like
Yeah.
that's what you
Yeah.
or that's how I'm feeling about it anyway.
Yeah.
So eighth grade, okay, that's the last because I'm South African. I have to figure out a school. So that's the last year in middle school, right before they go into high school.
Yes.
What do you
Yes.
think was special about that? Like, what drew you in?
I think what drew me in initially was just the sort of the chaos of it and the like high energy that is required with those level of kids. It was a very different environment, different kind of chaos than elementary school, right? They need wildly different things. Um, and you're not tying their shoes, you're not helping them blow their nose. Um, but um, they need they still need a high amount of attention just in a very different way. And so
Mhm,
I was really intrigued by that. And I was so young that I loved being able to put that much energy and really getting to build relationships with those kids. And the
mhm,
longer that I was in it, I certainly didn't know this at the very beginning because I just was naive and I didn't have enough years under my own belt to really recognize the power of the opportunity you have at that age to make a massive impact in a kid's life. It's a
mhm,
real tipping point for a lot of kids. And I quickly became addicted to that
mhm,
level of impact, even though it is an incredibly challenging time in most people's lives, right? You say middle school and almost immediately people cringe
mhm.
or their eyes pop out of their head like, why would you want to teach that age? Like, ugh, it's
Yeah.
so hard. And or they have their own kids that age and they're struggling on the parenting front. It's a wild ride.
Mhm,
But you have a very unique opportunity to really change the trajectory of what happens next for kids. And I loved it. I got addicted
mhm.
to that. Um,
Yeah.
and it's and some of the relationships that I built with those kids were really special and really impactful for me and for them.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I can see that for sure. So we don't have middle school in South Africa.
Mm,
So I'm going to like my son goes to middle school now this year, like
this
in
year,
2 weeks.
sixth grade.
Yeah, yeah. So
Woo!
it's going to be my first middle school experience
Experience.
in my life.
Yeah,
So
it's a
it's going to be
big
so weird. Him and I are just going to have to
how.
figure it out. I mean, my husband's also South African, so the whole family is going to have our first little middle school experience now. So
What does it
yeah.
look like in South Africa? How do the grades
We
how
have,
do
it's
grades
called
go?
primary and high. So primary goes up to grade 7, and then high is from 8 to 12.
12. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes. So 1 to
well,
7, 8 till 12. So the 5 years of high
buckle
school
up,
and the
baby.
7 years. I know, because everyone is like, middle school was the worst, but it is so true the impact a teacher can have on you. Like, I remember to this day, my first grade teacher saying something to me which was so devastating, right? And like, I think I've
Mm,
wanted to prove her wrong my whole life because she was like, you can't write sentence. I was like always the slowest kid
mm,
in school. I'd hand my schoolwork in last all the time. Eventually, like I caught on and I got better and I handed it in first. And I was so proud of myself, like literally from last to first, right? And I'm like proud, go and give the teacher this, like these sentences that I had
mm-hmm,
written. And all of them had started with the word the.
mm-hmm.
And that was all she said to me. She was like, you can't start all your sentences with the. And I was like so devastated. I'm sure she didn't even think about it, right? Like,
Sure.
but that hit me to this day, like, however many
It's
years later,
wild.
42 minus 6, like whatever, it's decades of that
Mm,
impact. So I'm sure you as a teacher, I'm sure those kids are like, 20 years later still remembering that impact. So that's very cool. All right, so 20 years teaching eighth grade, the whole 20 years. Yeah, wow.
well, let's see.
Mm,
I taught first and
yeah,
second grade for the first two
yeah.
years of my career, and then I think I spent 19 years in middle school.
Okay.
So yeah, I think 21 years is where I finished.
Hmm.
I stepped
Hmm.
away not knowing I wasn't going to go back,
Hmm.
um, because of family reasons and my own kids and decisions that we were
Hmm.
making. I stepped away and I haven't stepped back.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to know, I mean, having a 19-year career, and it doesn't matter, or 21-year career, in one thing, it's, I feel like that is a gift that not many people get. Like to find something that you love, that you lean into. But
Mm,
I'm also sure there were hard times, hard
oh,
years, hard things. Tell
for
us
sure.
about some of that, and then what like got you through that you did come back the next year.
Oh man. I mean, with teaching, uh, especially with middle school. So, man, there's a lot of those years, right?
Hmm.
And they kind of go, it's a it's sort of a weird phenomenon, but in teaching, there are these classes of kids that come through, and for whatever reason, it's sort of uh, a whole group, a whole cohort of kids, right? And usually in middle school, you have a caseload or a group of kids. It's about 150. That's about how many kids you see in a day. Um, and depending on the size of your school, you might have two of those. So there's 300 kids or so in the school that I worked at. And sometimes you would know as the kids are coming into your school building, because you talk to all the elementary school teachers and sort of get feedback and learn about as much about the kids as you can before they walk through your door. They sort of would say, watch out for this group. They're really tough. And then you knew what's the workload going to look like, what kinds of things, what kinds of behaviors, what kinds of family stories are going to happen, and you kind of buckle in for that school year and know that you have your work cut out for you. I mean, there was a group of kids that I'll never forget that came through my doors before I had kids. I do think there's something to the amount of time and energy and effort and love that you pour into kids when you don't have your own. I think that teacher parents are a whole nother breed of special people who can do both. I have not ever been in the classroom when I've had my own kids. I stepped away from the classroom and did another role. Um, but there was this group that came through, and I don't know, there was a really hard, tough group of boys. And I also built a reputation in my school for give me all the hard kids because I wanted them and I was capable of getting them to do things that other teachers couldn't do. Maybe it was because of the drive I had at that point in my career, the energy. Um, and these boys would do the most horrific things in my classroom. I mean, climbing on the desks and fighting sometimes, physically fighting each other and, cussing me out, coming to school high, coming to school drunk, um, you know, because of their horrible situations that they would come from. And it would just drain me and they would drive me batty. Um, and they would be in our school for 2 to 3 years. And so you just, you would write it out. But I built some really strong relationships with a couple of the boys that were sort of the ringleaders,
Mhm.
that everybody else would follow. And I remember I would pick one of them up for school every day because he would stop showing up for school, and I would pick him up and I would feed him, and those types of efforts paid dividends, and they sort of turned the tide on how they would show up in my classroom every day, and
Mhm.
all the other boys would watch what those guys were doing, and um, I would go home crying, exhausted. But
Mm.
then, one day, one of them would do something incredible and, you know, produce some form of writing, or they would have some crazy insight from something we were reading in class. And you would know, okay, like what I'm doing here matters. And
Mhm.
one of those boys, years later, and actually, he it just so happened he left our middle school, and I think I had gotten pregnant or was pregnant when he was there. And I came back to work in a different role, and he came and found me and invited me to his graduation. And I got to watch him walk across the stage. And so those are the things that keep you coming back when it gets super hard and you think, I hate this. Is it worth it? All of
Mhm.
those thoughts
Mhm.
go through your head. And um, that one kid, it sure as heck was worth it for him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like goosies. It's just
Right?
yeah. And honestly, even if it's one person, like
Right?
that's what makes it so wild.
Yes.
Even if you're impacting one kid per
Yeah.
year, you've impacted 21 kids and their
In a huge way.
families, and
Right.
like it's just unbelievable. So yeah, I
Yeah.
totally get like what you said, it that you were addicted to it, and I honestly think that's why I'm in my field, is I
Right.
get to help people grow throughout their entire career.
Right.
Like the impact I have possibly
So
had. It's just
I don't know. What else are we
wild.
here for? What else are we here
Mhm.
for? Right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's the
absolutely.
impact. It's the
Hmm.
impact.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah.
That was, oh yeah, I can can see the movie.
Yeah, I know. I know. It was,
Yeah, like movies are
I
made out of
remember
this
just
stuff. Yeah.
bawling, and I think it was early after I think the boys were, were two or something. And
Mhm, mhm,
I just was a mess watching, I was like, it was one of the coolest things that I will never forget for the rest of my life.
mm. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that is so special. Oh, awesome. So then what happened? Because you've left since
The,
and you didn't go
yes,
back, but you didn't plan on not going back. So what,
I did
like,
not.
what
I
was
did
that
not plan.
moment? Let's
So,
dig into
yeah.
that.
Yeah. So I went back to work. I took a year off when the boys were born because I sort of had I had like a little tiny, voice in my head that thought, I'm probably not going to be super capable, certainly not in a classroom setting. And my boys were born at the end of August. So I was smart enough to know I need to take a year off when they're born. So I went back, coming towards the end of that first year, and I went to my principal and I said, I don't think next year is going to work for me either because I can barely function as a human being. Um, and at that point, she said, well, what if you come back in a part time capacity in a coaching position? So, an instructional coach
Mhm.
in a school is the person who is teaching the adults, and you're going into classrooms and sort of watching teachers do what they do and give them feedback and ideas about how they could improve their instruction. And I thought, well, that'll get me out of the house. Um, so I said yes to that. And I ended up being in that role for many, many years um, after the boys were born. But COVID hit when my boys were five,
Mhm.
or no, I'm sorry, when my boys were three. And so we left preschool, and I was like, okay, I homeschooled them.
Makes sense.
Oh, let me just say, I'm a
Yeah.
teacher, and I was like,
Yes.
it was the worst year of my life. I know it was the worst
That
year of
is
many
so
people's life.
validating, Jenny. Let me just
Oh,
stop
it
you
was
there because honestly, like homeschooling, I also tried. My kids were, but I think our boys are the same age, like
uh
2015.
yes, yes, but
Mm,
we kept ours back a year. So that was
okay.
the year
Yeah,
we
yeah.
stayed home for
Which
COVID because middle school teacher me was like, I don't want my boys to be the youngest in the class
I know.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
That's gonna
tricky.
be our
That's
son.
tricky. Yes.
I wish I met you
So
earlier.
yeah. So
Yeah.
during that year, uh, I was I was dying for some joy, right? I was hungry, like I wanted
Mhm.
something to bring me joy, something to give me my spark back. And I remembered I loved Denver Shop Girl, but I can't do Denver Shop Girl as mom Jenny, as stay at home teacher Jenny. That's not gonna, those two things don't go together. So how could I bring that back to my life in a way that would work with my life?
Mhm.
Um, and so that's where this original idea of my business was born in that dark time of COVID, just trying to find some light for myself.
Mhm.
And I had this, what I thought was a genius idea. I thought this was brilliant. And I talk about this all the time because I thought to myself, well, if I can um, sort of create this guide for women to help them get dressed and feel really good in their clothes again, and package it up and just sell this guide. It's brilliant. So I create these every season. I still do this. It's a capsule wardrobe, so it's like a collection of clothes, and I show you how to um, build outfits with everything for the whole season. So it's like 100 outfits, right? And I thought I'll make this and I'll sell it as a digital product and business done.
Mhm.
Brilliant, but like dumbest idea. It's like because like
Why?
dumbest idea
Why?
because
It
well
still sounds
because
like a good idea to me.
well it's like a teacher giving a kid a textbook and saying go teach yourself how to write, go
Okay.
teach
Yeah.
yourself history or science, and just having them read a
Mhm.
textbook. I mean, this is essentially my textbook for style school. And
Mhm. Mhm.
most, I mean, I would say it's in the 90th percentile. Most people don't learn like that.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's why I'm like, what a dumb idea. As a teacher, I should know better, right? Well, it failed, right? Nobody just wanted the capsule wardrobe. They want more guidance, more support. And so this started my journey into what is now style school. So I went back to work after COVID, and I'm like, slow and steady wins the race, the turtle and the hare. Like this is my life. It was a slow roll, this journey into entrepreneurship. Teaching and entrepreneurship do not, they're very different beings. And
Mhm.
but I took all of my knowledge of teaching and then all of my knowledge of clothes and how to make them really work on all different types of bodies and budgets and all of that, and I married those two things together, and I still build these capsule wardrobes, and it's the anchor of the work that I do. It's the common vocabulary inside of my community of style school. It's how we talk about different types of pieces and how to how to put together outfits and all of that. But it really started with this, and then me building a whole curriculum, an annual curriculum that help women tackle every season with confidence and understanding all the different, ways that clothes can work for you, um, and how to really understand all the different cuts and the styles and the body shapes and
Mhm.
all of that. So it started with the capsule um, back in 2020, and it has evolved and evolved and evolved and evolved again. It's going through
Mhm.
another evolution right now,
Okay.
where it just the teacher in me really believes in the feedback model of always sort of going back to lessons that I have created or taught, and and figuring out, how do I make them better? How do I make them even more impactful? How do I make them more user friendly? How do I keep you engaged, but also not overwhelmed by this
Mhm.
idea of getting dressed and things, and picking out outfits in my closet every day, because women are already overwhelmed enough.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to, what I want to dig into, and, like, yes, we need to tell everyone about your business, but like, how did you, I mean, because you said it was your spark in the beginning, right?
Hmm.
Like, you shopped with your friends back when you were still a teenager, you were shopping with your mom, helping her.
Yeah.
So, how did you find that? And the reason I'm asking, and maybe this will help me with articulating even the question, but like when you have this thing that you love and this joy and this spark, but you think, oh, well, but this is my career, this is my job. And then I also have this thing that I like doing. How did you marry the two? Like, what did that journey look like for you if you were to be coaching someone to
Hmm.
find this like joy and monetize it, right? Like to make a living out of your joy.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a really good question. Um,
Took me a
for
while to
me,
get there.
yeah, well, but for me, I think that the 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 initial bridge between those two, right, was, how do I take this thing that is teaching and education, that I know I'm really good at, right? I'm good at this. And there was a lot of joy in there too. But the
Mhm,
thing that I loved the most were those light bulb moments. I talk about this all the time. These light bulb moments that happen for kids in your classroom, and when you can see, ding, something something changed for them because of a lesson, or the way I presented something.
mhm,
Those were the things that I was always looking for, right? It's the impact. Those light bulb moments are when you can see the impact happening in real time. And so I knew if I was going to do anything else, that piece of the equation had to be in there. I needed to find a way to take this joy, this love of shopping. Really, I wanted to get paid to shop. I love clothes, because clothes for me are a daily light bulb moment, right? So
mhm,
that connection was already there for me. So I was trying to figure out, how do I take this thing that I've gotten really good at over the years and marry it with this other thing that that gives me that daily moment of like my own joy, my own spark of creativity. How do I take
mhm,
that and then create something that I can deliver that result for other women, because
mhm,
of the daily impact that it made in my own life, right? So then I had to figure out, how do I build a vehicle that's going to deliver that result so that I can still get light bulb moments in a different way for other
mhm,
people. And for me, because I've always chased the impact and how I can help other people, that's the bridge for me to be able to take the skill sets and marry them.
mhm,
So I think you have to find the thing, whatever if you already know what brings you joy. I think you really have to think about what gives your life purpose on top of the joy, right? How do you put those
mhm,
two things together? Because, you know, if the thing that brings you joy is, I don't know, rock climbing, uh, and you're trying to build a business out of that, I think you have to think about, you know, what's the other driving force in your life, because sometimes joy isn't enough, right? Like, selling what brings you joy is going to be a tricky endeavor, I think.
mhm,
I think
mhm,
you But the purpose piece, what do you really want to do here? and
Mhm.
I want to make as big an impact as I possibly can. And I think I did a lot of that in my teaching career. Um, and now I've packaged it in a different way because I'm really after, I want there to be more empowered, confident women going and making the impact that they want to make on the world. And I think that
Mhm.
what I do can deliver that for them.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. And really find like stepping into that because I do feel I am privileged to work in work that I love. Like I
Mm,
literally want to wake up in the morning and get to my
hmm.
computer and do the work, right? Like
Yeah.
serve the people, talk
What
to
a
the
gift.
people. Yeah, it is a gift and I don't feel there's enough people finding that joy. And that's like my mission with this podcast is like
Mm,
let's
hmm.
help other people just find that joy because what a difference it makes to
Oh my
wake up in the
gosh.
morning like looking forward to something. So I think that's the end state, right? Or the like end
Right.
goal. But what are some of the hardest lessons you've learned opening up your own business and starting this entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah,
Because it's,
it
yeah,
is
no
one.
destination there.
So
It's
yeah,
insane.
right. I would say
Yeah.
number one, um, don't fall into the trap that you can create um, a business that's going to deliver the kind of financial results or even um, the results on the impact front quickly. I think a lot of we have been sold, right? And we continue to be sold via society, social media, that you can build a successful business overnight and that it's just going to like happen. I think that was probably the number one thing. I mean, this crashed and burned. I mean, it crashed and burned. People love the tool. You know, I gave it away for free initially to just get feedback. People love the tool, but it wasn't. Nobody was buying it, and
Mhm.
I spent a long time building. You know, these
Mhm.
are not an easy thing to build, and I couldn't figure out what's the hitch in the giddy up here.
Mhm.
Um, and you know, I think so. Number one, I think it's not going to happen overnight.
Mhm.
Number two, I think you have to really be open and willing to tweak and change and evolve. And it does not, I mean, where I am today, I had no idea when I set out with my business plan that it would turn into what it is today. I,
Mhm.
like I zero, I had zero idea. So I think being open to understanding that your business is going to change so many times until you finally get to the place where you feel like it functions the way that you want it to function in your lifestyle, that it can deliver the result that you want it to deliver, that you can make the amount of money that you want to make. I mean, there's so many aspects to it. It's a messy, bumpy roller coaster ride.
Mhm.
And I think that lesson, it's, I think that's probably like it, and it keeps happening, right? It's so humbling.
Mhm.
It's so,
Mhm.
it's
And
so humbling.
yes.
Um, and even today, I would say I'm not checking the box on several of those that I just listed. I think I have gotten to a place where my business foundation and what I have built is exactly what I want my business to look like. Is it at scale? Is it as big as I want it to be? Absolutely not.
Mhm.
Is the impact as big as I want it to be? No. And so I think those two things, the the timeline and knowing that what you initially create is probably not going to be where your business ends up, um,
Mhm.
is another one. And I would also just say the other thing is being really careful who you hire. I think there are so many people out there who are offering um, a return on investment that just flat out doesn't exist. And to be very, very careful where you're investing and um, making sure that you're going to get the result that you're paying for. I think I've made a lot of mistakes along the way on hiring the wrong people,
Hmm.
thinking it was going to be the thing that's going to turn my business around or change everything. And it's exactly, it's the magic bullet, and that doesn't exist. So I think
Hmm.
being wise about where you invest, um, and trusting the people and knowing the people really well before you hand over your money.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I actually want to make a whole series, like an Instagram series on
Hmm.
money I have spent that and was it worth it? Like
No.
actually looking into it. Like, and
Hmm.
some things, yes, some things
Oh,
were
for sure.
worth it. Even the lessons learned, or, even if it didn't have that ROI, it still moved you in some sort of way. But I had right in the early days, I had
Yeah.
like I wanted help on my social media and I still suck at it. Like my Instagram just is terrible. Like I cannot crack that code. So I did ask for help right in the beginning
Yeah.
and spent a fortune with this like done for you service. And they would like give me the scripts and the make the carousels and all the things. And then they'd like send me the script for these reels. And I was like, but I'm lying. Like the
Right.
script is not
Not
true.
true.
Like like it would say I've helped, 92 people create profitable courses. I'm like, I've helped exactly 0 people do that. Like I can't, and they were like, yeah, but if you want the results, you
Oh,
have to say the exact script. And I was just so not happy with that, right? And I think that
so
is a lot
disingenuous.
of like how many people are just lying. Like I couldn't lie, and then they're like, well, then you're
Right.
not going to get the results. So I actually had to like it took me weeks, but I asked for a refund and they were like, I was looking into small claims court and everything, and
Right.
eventually they gave me my money back and I had to sign this NDA, so I can't even say who the company is. But yeah, like you can get so burnt,
Hmm.
like just because you're ignorant and you want this quick result and you're like, yes,
Right.
I'll work with
You
you, I'll
want what
do
they're
what you
saying they
say,
have.
like I'm not scared
Right.
of the hard work, but show me the right
Right.
path, right? And
Hmm.
that's the hard part. Oh yeah. So I those things I relate to so much. Like I've
Yeah.
just evolved my business like last month and it's yeah,
Hmm.
it's nuts and it does take so much longer. And I think that's such an important thing to just say if anyone is listening and thinking of this entrepreneurial journey. My favorite saying is like it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. Like
Yes.
that is
Yes. I'm
yeah,
5 years in. I'm 5 years
yeah.
into this business.
Hmm.
Really, it's yeah. I had the idea in 2020 and I
Yeah.
started in 2021, and
Hmm.
yeah, so I'm 5 years in, and we're getting there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're getting there. And I'm
Yes.
having a lot of fun. I'm having like I think that maybe that's the last thing. Like, don't forget to have fun. Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, like
Yeah,
it's
and I
that.
can honestly see that, like even when we meet for coffee or when I see your Instagram, it's like
Yeah,
obvious your eyes are sparkling, like you love this
I
work.
I do. I really,
Mhm.
really do.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it's all fun. But don't forget that you
Yeah.
started this business and there was something fun for you there. So hold on to that, like as hard as you
Mhm.
can. Don't lose that.
Yes, yes, I love that. All right, and this is a good place to ask you more about your business and tell us, I don't want to say, how can we connect with you? And then you just say LinkedIn and Instagram. Like, no, that's not the question. It's like, who should contact you? Why should they contact you?
Yeah. So my whole mission is to help women change their relationship with their reflection. How many of us stand in front of the mirror every single day and the only thoughts that we have in our head are negative, or you're finding every flaw? And I think that a lot of us have, it's been trained into us that we have to look a certain way or be a certain size. And I just really don't believe in any of that BS. And so I want to help teach women the skill of having personal style so that you can have a light bulb moment in your day before you walk into your office or head out the door, and change the internal dialogue. And I think clothes are such a simple tool to be able to change that, to flip that switch. We just don't, we
Mhm.
were never taught how to use clothes.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's like, oh, you're just supposed to know how to be stylish. You're just supposed to know what looks good on your frame. And that is so untrue. And it can change the trajectory of your whole day and how you're showing up and your energy. And so, yes, you can find me on Instagram. Yes, you can find me on LinkedIn. Um, but I do offer a couple of things seasonally. I have a Spirit Week coming up. So my whole my whole approach to style is through education. I have a style school. I have a community of women where I teach curriculum where you're tackling the hardest challenges in the style arena every season, whether it's swimsuits or jeans or the things that make you want to pull
Mhm.
your hair out. I show you how to find uh, the things that are meant for your body at whatever phase of life that you're in. And within Style School, I do a Spirit Week once a season where it's like you can come kind of dip your toe in. It's a week long. I give you a bunch of different outfit formulas and we play together and you get a good taste of that. That's coming up in about a month. We're at the end of August right now, or I'm sorry, we're at the end of July right now. It'll be towards the end of August. Um, and that's just a way to invite you into my world. If social media isn't enough, you can come get a real taste and see what that's like. You can watch my TED Talk. You can get a real dose of how I actually, how I really feel about this um, thing called personal style because my approach is very different than most stylists. I don't
Mhm.
even call myself a stylist or influencers. I'm just very anti those things. I call myself a style teacher because I really want to teach you how to go into your closet and not want to pull your hair out.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep, or walk in and say, I have nothing to wear and in
Uh
a
huh.
full closet. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's me. Oh,
Exactly.
yeah. Hmm. Okay, awesome. So that's coming up. I don't know. Yeah, we might need to push this episode so that it can come out before August or before the end of
Um,
August.
yeah. So
But you do it every season, right? So, I mean, if
I
someone's
do it every
listening to
season.
this like way after it is, this
Yes.
happens 4 times a year. So,
Happens 4 times a
yes.
year. And I think actually I don't have my calendar in front of me. I did push it. Normally I do it at the end of August, but because of East Coast East Coast starting the school year after Labor Day, I'm actually doing it in the middle of September this year.
Okay.
Um, so yes, I pushed it. So I misspoke. So I don't know if that
Yeah.
buys any extra time, but
Yeah,
I
mate.
do
Well,
them
we'll put your
once a season.
dates in the description so you can give us
Cool.
dates for the next year. So that would be
Great.
great. Yeah, awesome. All right. So, 2 questions to close up. Okay.
Okay.
What should we be talking about more when it comes to building this career and life that we love, that we enjoy, that we want to show up to in whichever?
I feel like we should be talking more about, um, I think it should be, I think we should be talking more about this in school. That's what I think. I think we should be talking
Mm,
more about this starting in high school and in college and helping kids understand that there isn't this perfect stepping stone of a life that you have to follow,
mm,
that you go from high school to college to corporate to climbing the corporate ladder, that it
mm,
doesn't have to look that way, and that there are other avenues that we can take to truly build lives that bring people um, joy and fulfillment. Because if we had more people walking around that were filled with joy and knew that they were living in a purpose, imagine what kind of world we would be living in. It would look
mhm.
a lot different.
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
think. That's what I
Yes,
think.
that is one of my biggest missions in life. It's like you can enjoy your work. Like it is
Yes.
possible.
And
And you
maybe
can
that
make
is
a good
corporate.
living.
not to say,
Yeah, and whatever
not
it
to
is
like,
for you,
right,
whatever your path is, like that's, I worked in corporate for 10 years. Now I've been out for 10 years. Like that's my path, 10-10
right,
so far.
right.
And I'm loving building this business, but I support corporate people. So yeah.
Right.
Oh, and
I
that
don't
was
think it
funny.
doesn't,
My thing, I
yeah.
wanted to get into corporate so I could wear stilettos like my aunt. She
Yes.
used to wear like the
Heck yeah.
most cool shoes, and I was always
So
like,
chic.
okay, what work can I do?
I want to
I need
wear
to
those,
wear stilettos.
right?
And
I'm
now I'm
like,
like, I don't even want to wear
don't come
shoes.
at me. I love stilettos still. I don't want to wear them. I don't want to, I
No,
used to wear them
not
in the
everywhere.
classroom. Not,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that anymore, but I love
Mm-mm.
them. Yeah, I love
No,
stilettos.
yeah, no, I do. All right, last question. Going back to young you, like early
Mhm.
days, you can pick an age where you 10, 15, 20, doesn't matter. But going back, what would you thank yourself for doing back then when you were still young and naive that actually set you up for where you are today?
Um, I would say, even though it was stupid financially, I used to spend so much money on clothes that I didn't have. I would rack up credit card debt. But throughout that whole time in my life, I was learning and I was honing this skill that I didn't know. I just was trying to find clothes that made me feel really good and could
Mhm.
help me show up in this as this person that I wanted to be in the world. Again, very stupid financially, but I would say thank you to her because I learned so much about clothes that I use in my everyday life all the time now.
Mm,
And that
mhm.
skill is paying dividends these days.
Yeah.
So stupid financial Jenny
Yes,
being very
I
just
am
swiping that
so
credit
stupid
card.
financial when it comes to investing in my skills, to be
Yeah.
honest. I have probably
Mm,
overspent by probably tens of thousands of dollars right now.
mm,
Like
mm-hmm.
I just want to be honest about that, but I
Yeah.
invest a lot in my skills. But yes, so I like that, you know. Don't go into credit card debt.
Yeah.
Anyone
Don't
listening.
do
But
that. But
your
yeah,
skills, no one
I
can
could
take
have
that
been
away from you.
I could have been learning without swiping the card. Let's be clear. But I didn't know that at the time, right? I
Mhm,
wanted to
mhm.
take those things home with
Yeah,
me. But I did learn a lot.
yeah. You could have been in
Yeah.
the wardrobe just taking photos without a
Right.
phone. I don't know,
Without a
like because
phone, right?
I
There
didn't
was
have a
none of
phone. We would
that.
have had to use like the little,
Like, yeah,
like
yeah,
I
like
had this
a,
little like the neon pink
yeah,
Nikon
yeah,
camera.
yeah,
You could have used
yeah,
that, like tick
yeah.
tick tick tick.
I guess so. I'll give myself a little great. Like, I didn't have those tools. All I had was my credit card. So there you go.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Any
Yeah.
last words before we say goodbye?
No, just such a fun conversation.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for
I
having me.
loved it. I loved it. Thank you for being here. It was so cool.